today we're going to be going over the dumbbell Skullcrusher and the dumbbell JM press. So both of these movements are going to be extremely beneficial for triceps development, but also tricep strength and lockout strength in presses. But the big thing here to note is that while the movements are visually extremely similar and sometimes kind of actually hard to differentiate, they are going to have extremely different use cases and applications because of one very subtle difference between the movement patterns. So a dumbbell Skullcrusher is going to be a fixed upper arm. Typically, you're going to be looking at a fixed upper arm. But the most important thing is that the elbows are not actually going to be translating forward, so that you're not going to be extending your elbows past perpendicular with the floor. And what that's doing is that is essentially going to limit any of your pecs, your anterior delts from being able to fire and assist. So that also does actually put your triceps at somewhat of a mechanical disadvantage because they're not able to actually leverage more of their stronger mid-length fibers. But with a JM press, you actually are going to get those benefits because as you're bringing it down, you're bringing your elbows forward and you're allowing that translation, so your triceps are going to have a little bit more of a mechanical advantage to exert force. So we will see exactly what that looks like here in a second, but starting with the dumbbell Skullcrusher, I prefer dumbbell Skullcrushers over barbell, over easy bar. A lot of people will get tons of great results performing easy bar Skullcrushers, heavy, lots of volume. My experience is that over time, eventually that will all catch up and your elbows will get absolutely shredded. So I think it's best to just continue with dumbbell Skullcrushers. It's a better, more mechanically favorable movement angle. So dumbbell Skullcrushers, not gonna beat you up nearly as much as an easy bar or barbell, but the movement pattern itself is going to be very similar. So here, you're starting with your arms straight up, and you're going to be flexing, allowing the dumbbells to come down, and then you're gonna be extending up. So the biggest thing here to watch is what's going on in my upper arms. You'll see that as I break and as I start to flex and bring the dumbbells down, my upper arms are not moving forward. They're staying straight up or even extending a little bit like this, or flexing, excuse me, a little bit like this. And then as I do go to extend my elbows and push back up, you'll note that like I extend here and go all the way back rather than sliding my elbows forward into a press. So it's a very strict movement in a sense from what my upper arms are doing. Now for a JM press, here's where it gets a little bit different. So instead of bringing the dumbbells more to my forehead or like behind my head, I'm gonna bring them straight down to my anterior delts. So here, I'm going to shove my elbows forward and then extend back. So you'll note here that I'm not pressing. It's actually still an extension, even though the mechanics from a Skullcrusher are a little bit different. And with JM presses, you can use a good amount more load than Skullcrushers because you are changing those mechanics and changing those joint angles. So, big thing for application. JM presses are typically going to be a lot better for strength-related goals whenever it comes to tricep extension or elbow extension in general. So if you're really trying to put a lot of weight on your bench press, for example, I would say JM press is gonna be your best bet. But if your goal is strictly to bring up your triceps and grow your triceps over time, it might be better to go with a Skullcrusher variation that's a little bit more strict, a little bit more easy to control, and actually puts a little bit more strain through your triceps and through the lengthened long head of your triceps as well, especially if you do want to add in a little bit of shoulder flexion at the top to get more of that stretch. So both of these movements are gonna be great if you use them properly, but it is really important to understand those subtle differences can make or break a movement. So elbow translation forward is the difference between a Skullcrusher or a JM press, and as we've just seen, those movements can have pretty widespread application variability in your own program. So make sure that you understand how to do those, make sure you understand the differences and also the similarities, and you're gonna get a bomb movement from tricep Skullcrushers, or excuse me, dumbbell Skullcrushers or those JM presses.